Hey everybody, it's old folks here again. I've gotten a few questions on 139 and I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about it, kind of share some of my thoughts, my pointers on it, let you know what I did, what I tried, what works, what didn't work, stuff like that. So, I have a video that shows it and I kind of talked about it as I went through about it. A lot of people are like, well, I've got Teresa, or I've got Diogecan, and I've got, so-and-so, all these others, and I've got those heroes. So if I click out of here for a second and I go to my heroes, I click on my mages, I'm gonna say Vortex looks a lot like wow, I don't know what's going on with my Vortex, but anyways, we'll deal with that later. I've got a Haley, I've got a Blaine, Teresa, Edwin, I've got a Gorgana, a Diocan. I leveled the dog out of these two. Obviously, she's not 5 stars. I couldn't make her 5 stars. Didn't matter what I did. I've got a Haley, the Edwin, the Teresa. Both 5 stars, decently prayed up. I've tried them all, and nothing was working. And I could come. I'd like to say close, but the truth is I wasn't close. I really had a lot more room to make up before I got to where I needed to in order to get a victory. So as I sat there and I continued to play with it over and over and over, I read a lot of reports. I talked to a lot of people, and people were like, well, I just use Solomon. And I was like, Solomon? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, the free hero? Yeah, well, I know he's good. I know a lot of people say this is his stage, that he's great in Crystal Dungeon. So I was like, what the heck? I've already got him silver starred. Dropped a lot more diamonds in him to level him up. I don't have any more experience potions. I can't level the guy up any higher. And so I said, at level 83, we'll just try it. I prayed him up some. I had a bunch of books from the event for the Thanksgiving, or not Thanksgiving, for the Crystal Return, or Diamond Return event, exchange event, and so recharge event. So I was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. So I got him to 3 stars, 3 dots, which if you look at here in the Hero Temple, Dragon Prayer, there he is. Basically gives him increased magic penetration. I don't have the energy steal that comes off of here, but he's looking pretty beefy. So let's go back to it. So I used him. I brought him in, and I said, okay, I've got a team that's kind of unfair, some would say, because I've got a Vortex. And I've got a Noel and Snow. And you know what? You got to use what you use. I have other legendaries, and I'm not using them. There's some stages where I pull Vortex out because he doesn't work. So, it is what it is. So I'm not going to talk much about them. My Merlin's weak. Oh, gosh. I thought about maybe if I prayed her up more, maybe, in the end, I felt he was a better choice. And then I ran Gears. Gears is basically there for a little bit of crowd control and damage, dealing with and interrupting skills, dealing with Smoke, Yuan, and especially Jacob on the stage. Now, I'm going to watch the video again. We're going to talk about it one more time, and we'll just kind of go from there. So give me a second while this loads up. All right, so here we go. Again, I want to talk about it. I wish you could stop this part of the game and kind of show it. All you can do is speed up or slow it down. Really, Jacob can be an issue because of his thing, but the true part of this fight really comes down to these 2 tanks here. Yes, if you've got a way to group these up, some people will play a Zoe to group up. There's really no better person other than Noel and Snow for grouping all these guys up. We're going to get past this stage here. Lots of different options for getting around. You got to stay out of this. You don't want anybody on the back line, because then when you die and someone comes in, they get stuck in that fire like she took for just a second. And so once they're all gone, basically, you're left with these 2 tanks. These 2 tanks have huge armor resistance. There's nothing you can do about the armor. I've ran everything I have, even with Lucifer, and I can't bring them past that 1/3 health kind of stage at the end of time. They just eat it and survive, and so you're really left with having to go with an all magic team. That's the great thing here, obviously, about Solomon, is he's boosting everybody's ability power, increasing how fast they attack, and so it's helping everyone here do more damage. The fact that he's tanking it isn't bad because, you know, uh, with the tank of No on Snow coming in occasionally, it just helps increase his power. And so what you're going to have to do, I ran Diochan, however you want to say her name, and, you know, she did okay, but, you know, mine wasn't doing enough damage. I ran Teresa, but I couldn't keep Teresa alive. And even the damage she didn't seem to bring enough to the party. I've tried, you know, a lot of different variations. I tried Edwin, um, swapping out gears. None of that worked. And so basically, I finally found this configuration once I threw Solomon in. I mean, really, this is like the 5th fight with Solomon. And I've probably had like 100 fights that I've ran total. And, you know, I finally got to this point where I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be close, you know. And sure enough, as you saw before, it comes down to that last second. I mean, there's just not a lot of time unless you're majorly overpowered and never done the stage. This is what happens. The second stage is really a cakewalk. People say, well, what about the second stage? You know, I've got one person, again, I had the auto on accidentally. You're going to drop these guys real quick. Again, he's great against physical teams. I'm busting out a magic team, so it tears them apart. If you had a silence, that would be phenomenal for keeping them from ulting, but again, I don't. Nothing I could do about that. I did interrupt Pro a little bit. You know, Sebastian's there. He's going to do his res like we've seen before. But again, at this point, it's just bringing in a healer, bringing in some stunners, kind of going from there. So Arya and everything else, it's a pretty easy mop up after you survive their first ultimate once you get down and take out Sebastian. So that's the hard part of the stage, is finding a team comp that works. Now, you can go out there and you can read a ton of boards like I did. You can look at a lot of different team builds like I did. And the truth is when it comes down to it, out of everybody I raised, out of all the diamonds I spent, out of all the resources I pumped into it, this team really didn't change any. But the second I added him, it was like a totally different thing. I was like, holy moly. I mean, it was quickly evident. So this free hero that everybody kind of considers trash, compared to everybody out there, he is your greatest friend when it comes to this stage. So hopefully that'll help you. You know, yeah, if he's low level, I'm sorry, you're gonna want to level him up if you want to pass 139. If he's, you know, not high starred, remember you can get a lot of tokens, soul stones for him from the wishing pool, you know, and from others. You can go into your I didn't want to go there, that's the wrong place. Go to your line surf, you know, use your redeem, request that from your people, you know, and also check here in the shopping part. You know, a lot of times I'll find him in here and you get a lot more. So here where you receive 4, I think you get like 6 or 7, so you get more for the starting heroes, which helps you to level up faster. So I hope that helps. If you got any questions or comments or thoughts, maybe some teams you beat it with or anything else, feel free to let me know. Obviously, if you don't have a Vortex, obviously if you don't have a Noel and Snow, you're going to have to do some of the other things I tried where I didn't start with them. I'd start with other heroes, try and kill those guys, then let them die. But even when I brought in all my AP guys, I still couldn't finish it like I could when I had Solomon. So have a great one, guys. We'll talk to you all later.